Where does it begin? You know, oh, it's GATT 24 is the most. Article 24 of GATT will allow us to do whatever we want for 10 years and get unicorns by tea time. And then you hear it, particularly on phone-in radio programs, you hear people ring in and say it, and sometimes the presenter doesn't know whether it's true or not, so it gets out there. Then you see it on Facebook. So I'm very keen to triple-check what Philip in Hatfield suggested or asked us to look into for him, possibly in good faith. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice when I say you should Google this stuff before you ring me. But if you simply Google, do we lose our veto in 2020, this comes up. About claims regarding the Lisbon Treaty that are doing the rounds on social media, or, if you prefer, doing the rounds in Cambridge. And it appears under the headline, which is the first thing on your search terms. There's a lot wrong with this viral list about the Lisbon Treaty, and the very first thing in the list of things that's wrong addresses directly the claim Philip made about losing our veto. It's quite incredible. I mean, genuinely incredible in many ways. So here you go. The UK, all along with all existing members of the EU, lose their abstention veto in 2020 as laid down in the Lisbon Treaty when the system changes to that of majority acceptance with no abstentions or vetoes being allowed. That's the claim. This is wrong. The Lisbon Treaty did make changes to how EU law gets passed, which reduced the scope of states' veto ability, but it did not abolish veto powers. And these changes are already in effect, rather than coming into force in 2020. The term abstention veto is not even a part of European Union law, as you can see by the fact that most Google results for the term are references to this thing that's gone viral in the first place. EU legislation has to be approved by the Council of the European Union, which is made up of ministerial representatives of the governments of all EU member states. So maybe we should give Philip a break. Maybe he was being genuine. And because this person that said it to him is at Cambridge University, albeit doing classics, he thought there must be something in it. But check. Just check. It's simply not true. This is, in case it's appeared in your inbox, this is what appears at the top of the bogus claims. Why is nobody talking about the Lisbon Treaty, the treaty that comes into force 2020? It's worse than the so-called deal. If 99% of the British think the deal is bad, just look at the Lisbon Treaty. People need to know leavers and remainers. What will actually happen if we stay in the EU is a question no Remainer will ever answer, but here it is, warts and all. And it's all wrong. It is wrong to say that the Lisbon Treaty comes into force in 2020. Do you know why it's wrong to say that the Lisbon Treaty comes into force in 2020? Shall I tell you why it's wrong to say that the Lisbon Treaty comes into force in 2020? Because it came into force in 2009. 10 years ago. As was agreed by EU member countries, every single one of them, including us, in 2007. It has been in place since 2009. If the UK were to remain in the European Union beyond March of 2019 for any reason, then the Lisbon Treaty wouldn't suddenly change anything. But it's still out there. Even Cambridge academicals are falling for it. That's how it works. So you, and I'm not going to single anyone else out for particular criticism, but you will be listening to LBC at some point in the next 48 hours, and a caller will come on, and a caller will claim that this absolute hogwash that has been disseminated and amplified on Facebook is true, just as I've heard callers on other programmes talking about Article 24 of GATT. And this is not a normal way to earn a living. Most people don't spend their days with the noses in the treaties. Most people doing what I do for a living haven't read the Good Friday Group. Why would you? Answer, because we owe it to our callers. But you will hear a caller on this radio station making reference to this stuff, and a presenter may not know that it's not true, which is how it happens. That's why they do it. That's why they promote it. It's why they tweet it. It's why they post it. Because you just get it out there. And you know what they say about a lie? It's halfway around the world before the truth has got its trousers on.